All right, blessings, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Speaking with Ajani Bakari Talk Show. I'm your host, Ajani Bakari. Thank you for joining my YouTube live. I come on every Monday night. We obviously have another beautiful Monday night to discuss three different topics. As tonight's topics are going to be simple topics. It's going to be some great topics to be discussed all the time. But tonight's topics I feel like are just more enjoyable than anything. So tonight's topics we're going to discuss transgenders in sports. We're going to discuss my top 5 favorite Will Smith and Chris Rock movies. And then we're also going to talk about the secret to the book, The Secret. Now, I don't know if too many people know about The Secret, but there is a book called The Secret or a documentary called The Secret. Some folks may know about it. So those are going to be the 3 topics that we discussed tonight. Again, that's going to be transgenders in sports. We're going to discuss my top 10 favorite Will Smith and Chris Rock movies. You know, we're still in this. I knew I was going to have enough to talk about with what happened a few weeks ago. And then we're going to talk about The Secret, which is a book and a documentary that came out, because it kind of pertains to what's going on right now. And I felt it was very good of a topic to bring up. So I thank you again for joining me. You can always subscribe, like, follow, comment, share the page, share the content. I appreciate everybody who's been supporting me. Shortly, we'll be discussing here the topic of the young lady who stabbed her boyfriend, and we're gonna have that little topic because that's went viral recently on the internet, and I feel like I could discuss a little bit on that. But we're gonna go live on my IG and we're gonna go live on my Facebook. You can catch me on my Facebook at Ajani Bakari on Facebook, and you can catch me at speaking_with_Ajani_Bakari on IG. That's where you get my show content. And you can also get me on Facebook, which is where most of my topics and conversations lead to this show. So we're going to get to the show shortly. We'll let some folks trickle in. Thank you again for joining. Also, for my YouTube subscribers, I'm also co-hosting another show on another channel on YouTube, which is the Blue Chippers channel. I'm also co-hosting a show called Goat James Kingdom. It's a sports show where we'll be talking basketball mostly, and obviously the conversations of LeBron James and Michael Jordan and basketball in general. But obviously that's a place you can also, if you're interested in sports, you can go there. Again, that's Blue Chippers Podcast. That's on YouTube. You can find us there. We'll be uploading a show every Sunday. We had just one just passed. I'll put the link on my page and also share it. But I definitely wanted to get to the topic and discuss about this young lady who has been suspected of murdering her boyfriend. And I mean, the obvious evidence and everything that points to the situation points to that she physically killed her boyfriend, and she stabbed him with a knife, and there's footage of her at the scene full of blood. But the big controversy about this is that she has not been charged with murder or homicide. She has been let go. And what has happened is supposedly she's vapor acted, or she's considered to be she's saying that she's insane or there's something wrong with her mentally. She's mentally disturbed of some sort, and that's why she's not being charged. But supposedly there's footage of her out and about, so she's not actually in a psych ward or any kind of mental hospital. She's out and about living her life. But meanwhile, the family of this young man is wondering, well, what happened to their son? How did he die in the hands of this woman? And they don't feel that the cops are doing enough to investigate this particular incident. This is definitely one of the social media's top pointers, at least on my social media. Obviously this is a white girl, blonde head, pretty white girl. She had an OnlyFans page, and she was dating a black man, and I believe he was an African immigrant. But either way, he was a black kid. They were dating for a while, and there's footage showing up, about them. And, there's also people that are supposedly closely related to them as far as friendship, who claim that they lived, they had an abusive relationship, claiming that she was an abusive girlfriend. I don't know what that kind of abuse means. I don't know if she was physical or not, but they claim that she treated him bad, and then now they're showing old tweets and old clips, because she ended up being on a podcast at one point where she talked about being on OnlyFans and how she only dates black guys, and then there's tweets of the guy, God rest his soul. I know his family's reeling, him posting about how he don't date black girls and he don't like black girls. So it goes to show, like, how everything has changed in media, because I don't watch the news, so the only way I know about this is through social media. So I really don't know if this is actually headlining on the news, or if this is something that's even brought up in any news, even local news down here in South Florida, which is where they're from. But this is definitely something that gets brought up on social media all the time, and people can get on social media and hear about stories that are not necessarily mainstream in the the news circuit or the journalist circuit that we see on television. So for me, it's a simple thing. It's like obvious, for a revolutionary, you disrespected the idea of being with black women. It's one thing, again, if you want to find somebody you fall in love with that's not of your race, but it's another thing to claim that you're doing it because you don't like anyone of your race. So I don't want to talk bad about the man to that degree, but at the end of the day, he lost his life by dealing with someone that obviously can get away with killing him, because obviously, as of right now, she is not being charged for his murder. So this is one of the dynamics that we have when we talk about interracial relationships. And I believe Brother Hassan said it best when he talked about the interracial relationship dynamic, because of the power structure that exists in America. Interracial relationships is kind of like a boss dating their employee. It just doesn't work. There's too much power dynamics to allow it to work. So here it is. This young lady could claim that she's crazy, she's insane, and she could take her vengeance or her anger out on this kid until she takes his life, and she doesn't have to be held accountable for it because of a system of power that allows her to actually get away with this. And she's probably going to get away with it. I don't know the full details, but what I know for sure is that she has not been charged with this crime. So that is the big upset part, because people are wondering, well, how are you going to justify this man's death in the hands of this woman? It's definitely a sad, tragic thing, but it goes to show you, I mean, it isn't greener on the other side. The grass isn't greener on the other side. And, this poor man lost his life dealing with somebody because he thought he was going to be able to live the life. I know a lot of people who think dating white women make them, higher status. It gives you a better status. You're able to just achieve more because you're dating a white woman that can put you in the right areas, in the right circles. The funny thing is that these people he don't even have friends that could defend him in this moment in time, because his family are wondering what's happening. And all his friends were basically her friends, or people within her circle. So you actually have to detach yourself from your people and who you are as a black person to be with white people. Is kind of weird. So, at the end of the day, it's a sad story, but I say that, as a revolutionary, it is what it is. The young man lost his life, and it's just another idea to show you how white supremacy works and how it's always been a system of power. And obviously white folks have power. And this young lady was able to wield her white power and white privilege. And hopefully, they do actually investigate and charge with murder, because she should be charged with murder, because she is responsible for the death of a young man. So we're going to get live on my Facebook here and my IG. Let's see what we got going on. See if we can get everybody in here. All right, there we go. I'm live on my Facebook and officially live on my IG. Welcome, everybody. This is Speaking with Ajani Bakari Talk Show. I'm your host, Ajani Bakari. I come on live every Monday night for you to bring you 3 hot topics to discuss current events. We talk about political topics, we talk about entertaining topics, and we talk about something personal. So tonight's topics are going to be transgender in sports. Okay, so we're going to get to it. We're going to talk about this right now. We're going to get it out of the way. We also going to talk about my top 10 favorite Will Smith and Chris Rock movies. As we know, the Oscar slap, it was going to be something I knew I was going to have material to talk about for a while. But let's talk some good about these brothers, because they've actually done good, and why this whole slap became important in the first place in our lives because of what they've done. So we'll talk about my top 10 favorite Will Smith and Chris Rock movies, and then we'll talk about the secret to the book, The Secret. Okay, so I don't know if many people know about the book, The Secret, or the documentary, The Secret. It came out in 2006. It was the craze of the 2000s. We're going to discuss that because I feel the Will Smith and Chris Rock incident has brought up a good perspective and ideology and parallel when it comes to The Secret and what The Secret was talking about. So we're going to have those three discussions. Thanks again for joining me. Like I said, I go live on my YouTube channel. You can subscribe, like, follow, comment, share, let everybody know, hit the ring bell. I'm also on Facebook and I'm also on IG. So again, it's a pleasure to be with you guys. I appreciate it. Tonight's show should be great. We'll definitely have a great discussion. If you get a chance, you could always come back on my YouTube channel. I discussed the young lady who stabbed her boyfriend to death and has not been charged with his murder. Hopefully that charge will come soon and they do investigate it as a homicide. But you could always go back to my YouTube and check that out. The show will promptly be set up on my YouTube channel tonight, so you could always check it out too there. So we'll let some folks trickle in on my IG and Facebook, and we'll get to the show promptly here. Boom, boom. So again, that's, you guys can catch me on my Facebook account. That's Ajani Bakari on Facebook. And then I have my IG account for the show, which is speaking_with_Ajani_Bakari. And that's on IG, Instagram. Those are the three platforms where you can find the show. But again, like I've always stated, YouTube is the best place and the best quality of the show. So go to my YouTube channel, which is Ajani Bakari at YouTube, and you can definitely get a good portion of the show. Which will be up shortly right after the show. I'll upload it to my YouTube channel, and you can watch all the episodes as I continue to try to bring good content and good material to you folks. Next week, we're going to actually have a great discussion. I can't wait to tell you about next week. I'll let you know at the end of the show about it. So we'll definitely get to it shortly here. Machete. Dímelo. What's good? So again, folks, we're going to have three topics tonight. The first topic, we're going to discuss transgenders in sports. We're also going to discuss my top 10 favorite Will Smith and Chris Rock movies. And then we're going to also discuss The Secret to the Secret. The Secret is a book and a documentary that came out in the 2000s. These are a great time to talk about, that particular time of our life. I think, some folks know about this book and some folks don't. So we're going to have some fun. We definitely going to enjoy ourselves. Definitely going to get to it here. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get to the show. All right. As we get started here tonight, obviously the first topic is always a political topic I like to bring up. And I believe transgenderism in sports is a topic that need to be discussed on my show. A lot of you folks have followed me on Facebook and know my know my take on this subject. But I think I'm going to be able to speak about it a little bit better than I can write about it. There's obviously a lot of controversy and issues coming up with transgenders in sports. There's a lot more trans in sports now, as adolescent youth are allowed to convert their gender or their sex, and they're allowed, their gender, and they're allowed to compete in women's sports. Okay, and they want to compete in women's sports, but it's becoming a controversy and an issue because they are biologically men, and they are competing against biological women. And the controversy is that they should be able to do that. That's the pro-trans. And there's people who saying, well, look, you are not a female. It isn't fair. Some of these young ladies did work hard to get to this point. They just can't compete with the biological physique of a male, which is true. I mean, at the end of the day, you have the testosterone level, the muscle fiber, the actual bone structure is different for males. That's the controversy. That's the issue. But transgenders feel like they have the rights to be who they want to be and who they want to identify as. And that's where the controversy comes in, because they're basically saying that your gender and your sex are not necessarily the same thing, but they use sex to identify their gender. So the idea of identifying as an opposite gender than what you're born as should fall into the line of, at the end of the day, it is a psychological issue. Now, and psychology and the medical science books, these people are allowed to get themselves changed. The government has approved it. They have their rights. They have the rights. Tax dollars are sent for transgender people to get approved, to get surgeries and therapy and go through all of the things they got to do to go through the different changes to become the opposite sex. But in reality, they're competing, with women, and women are biologically different than men. So even in the idea of getting surgery and going through the therapy and taking the estrogen hormones, you're still biologically at an advantage when it comes to playing especially when it comes to playing sports. And it's been shown. We've had, there's been an MMA fighter, woman fighter that was a trans, and however you want to describe it, he or she broke a woman's face, because he was that powerful and that strong. We've seen it recently where the guy won in the swimming, where he was a regular swimmer as a male, but all of a sudden he changed his gender and now he could swim with women, and he wants to go ahead and compete, and he's number one. And then you have it where they want to enter, women's bathrooms, and it's become an issue in society because these people are basically disregarding, pure science and biology, which basically states that there's two sexes in any living organism, as far as living animals, and as far as mammals go, even amphibians, reptiles. The duality of life always exists. So it's to just separate it and create this whole form of identity or self-identity, which is what they're trying to do. It's really preposterous. I really think that we have to narrow it down. But again, I've told folks this is what it's always been about with the LBGTQPTS XYZ community, is that they are definitely trying to infringe their rights on people, and they're using it by attacking our children and going after children. At the end of the day, for a child to say that that at whatever 5, 6, 7, 9 years old they get to choose their gender and not their gender, and it is something that they've been trying to do. So I've always told folks, when it comes to this conversation, if you believe that someone could be born gay, then I guess you would have to keep the same energy for someone who says they were born in the wrong sex, that they're not in the proper sex, that in some form nature is wrong or God is wrong, that they were supposed to be the opposite sex. So they're going to identify as that, or identify as none of that, and create their own social order, which is what a lot of them like to say. So, you got to keep that same energy, because they all roll together with the same things. As I stated before, your sexuality, your identity, you're not born with that. Your identity is what you experience. It's a part of your culture. It's a part of your life. You're not born with a certain identity, or sexuality. Okay, these are things that you're taught. But it's getting a little bit too far with the transgenders, because they're competing in sports, and I can see why. I have 2 daughters, and if I can see if my daughters were trying to be the fastest at running or be the best at whatever sport they're in, but they cannot compete with a man. And there's a reason why we've separated it, to allow women to have their own sports and allow men to have sports, because it's just not fair on a competition level. Maybe we might have to just do that with transgenders. Give them their own sports, allow them to have their own category for them to compete with one another. That way you don't have to be either a transgender woman or a man. You could be either or. You can be a transgender man, transgender woman. You can be binary. You can be the 160 something different genders that they've created under their flag and under their philosophy. But to say that a grown man can change himself instantly and become a woman is it's a little bit, like I tell y'all, it's delusional. I can't instantly change my race. I can't instantly change my identity. I can't turn around and say I'm the CEO of a company just because I feel like I'm a CEO. I was born to be a CEO. It's really a controversy and an issue because they are pushing for their rights. They've been doing this for a long time. I've explained this for you guys. I've been telling you guys this for years on my Facebook. It just is what it is. They have been trying to infringe themselves. And my issue has always been that they're going after children. So, if a child is 6 or 7 years old and they don't understand their identity, that, you explain it to them, but by the biological terms, you let them understand that because that's what they are. Everything about them will state their sex. They will either be male or female. So my take is they should have their own sports to compete in. They should have their own restrooms to enter to. There's nothing wrong with that. This is not segregation. This is not like racism. Again, you're not born a transgender. You choose to be a transgender. I didn't choose to be black. I'm just born black. That's what I am. So you can't exclude me from society because of that. I'm not excluding you from the restroom, but you can't be in the restroom with little girls if you're a grown man. I'm sorry. You can't do that. And I don't care what you identify as. So, that's my take on that topic. I see a lot of folks joining me. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. Much blessings. My boy Omar, peace and love. Fabian, look at you. Uh-oh. Yeah, man. Y'all should check me out on my YouTube. Go to my YouTube, especially for my Facebook folks, because I can see my Facebook is not too well as far as the image. Peace and love to my IG folks. I see my boy Jay. Sabina Sakwase. Thank you for joining me, folks. You know what I'm saying? So, as we get on to the next topic and we lighten up the show, it's been a good, easing away from the Will Smith and Chris Rock discussion. Is kind of great that we're moving on to life like we normally did. But I knew I would be able to have a few weeks of material. So I got some material, because I felt that, Will Smith is taking a lot of beat downs. Chris Rock's taking a lot of beat downs for this whole fiasco about getting slapped on the Oscars. But these guys were brilliant people, and they've done some good movies that I like. So I'm going to give y'all my top 10 favorite Chris Rock and Will Smith movies. These movies, these are the movies that made them the stars that they are. These are why we love them. This is why we all stand up. So if you're either a Chris Rock, defender or a Will Smith defender in this situation, we could all agree that they're great at what they do. So let's get right to it. Let's get to the top, the top movies. All right, so my number 10 movie from Chris Rock and Will Smith is Pootie Tang. Yeah, baby, Pootie Tang, what a tie to the tie. You know what I mean? Anybody who know Pootie Tang, everybody know. First of all, Pootie Tang is probably the worst movie ever made in history, but probably still one of the greatest movies ever made in history, man, because Pootie Tang as a character is incredible. I mean, it's incredible. The idea of Pootie Tang, the idea of a man that's just so cool and so smooth, but we don't know what the fuck he be talking about, and he just says whatever the fuck he wants to say, and we all just supposed to fall in line with it, is hilarious. I don't believe Chris Rock came up with the character, but it started on the Chris Rock show on HBO. He turned it into a movie, and he created a whole movie about Pootie Tang. And if you don't know who Pootie Tang is, just go look it up. The movie, at first, you probably be like, what the hell am I watching? But then watch it again the second time, and trust me, you'll die laughing. It is a funny movie. It's hilarious. So for me, my number 10 Chris Rock, Will Smith movie, my favorite movie, is Pootie Tang. And then we'll move on down to the next movie, which is another good movie that Chris Rock made. And I don't think a lot of people know about it, but it's called I Think I Love My Wife. And it's a movie he made with Kerry Washington. And it's about a business exec who gets wrapped up in life. And he's in a midlife crisis because, he's working hard at his job. He's one of the best, exec firms in his company. And he does all the stuff that he's supposed to do. And he's married, but he comes across this beautiful woman, which is Kerry Washington. And Kerry Washington actually plays his part really, really well, because she's actually kind of bad in this movie. She's kind of, like sexy. And he falls into this thing where he he wants to, he gets into her lifestyle, and because he's married, obviously she's not married. She makes him get involved in all kind of crazy stuff, and he really has to challenge himself as a man to say what is more important to him: his family, his life, his career, or just this idea of wilding and being free and reckless. So it's a real good movie. It's a comedy. It's a romantic comedy. So I think you guys should take a chance and watch it. It's called I Think I Love My Wife by Chris Rock. So I don't know if anybody ever seen that movie. My number 8 movie for my top favorite Chris Rock and Will Smith movies is Men in Black. This is Will Smith, one of Will Smith's biggest movies, blockbuster movies. We all know why Will Smith get paid top dollars to do movies, because of movies like Men in Black. Men in Black is about a special government agencies that handle aliens that come in and out of Earth. Sci-fi comedy, family movie, very hilarious. We all love Will Smith. He does his thing. He co-stars with Tommy Lee Jones, another great actor. So MIB is my number 8 Will Smith and Chris Rock favorite movies. I watch MIB anytime. I really don't like the other ones, but MIB 1 is a good one. I watched that one. That's another one. My number 7 movie for Chris Rock and Will Smith is Madagascar. So Madagascar is a kids movie. It's a cartoon animation CG movie about a bunch of animals that that are in the zoo and somehow get dropped off and found in the middle of Africa, which is Madagascar. Not really in the middle of Africa, but in Madagascar. But I don't even know why it's called Madagascar, because I do believe they get dropped off in the middle of Africa. But either way, it's a funny movie. It's hilarious. Chris Rock plays the zebra, and there's some good parts in the movie. It's a great movie the kids can watch. I don't know how much of a kids movie it is, but it's a cartoon. It's animation. So that's my number 7 movie for Chris Rock and Will Smith. And then we have number 6. So number 6 movie is gonna be Ali. Okay, now this is the epic movie of Muhammad Ali, remade by Will Smith playing Ali, and this is basically the movie is based and premised in the George Foreman fight when they went to Africa and they fought in Zaire, which I believe is another name now. I forgot the name what Zaire what it is today. I can't recall it, but either way, that was one of Will Smith's supposedly standout movies where it showed his acting talent, where he really was able to be dramatic. They thought he should have won an Oscar for it. He didn't. But he did a great job in that movie, and I like that movie, Ali. Jada played in the movie. For y'all that may not like Jada, she played in the movie. So but it's still a good movie. It showed a good light about who Muhammad Ali was and where he was at in his point in time in his life. At that point in time in his life. So Ali is number 6. So far we got Pootie Tang at number 10. We got I Think I Love My Wife at number 9. We have MIB at number 8. We have Madagascar at number 7. And we got Ali at 6. I don't know if you guys are Will Smith or Chris Rock fans, but those are my movies. But we're going to keep it going because there's some other movies that I like to watch. And another movie that Will Smith was in was a big, big movie. I believe this is the movie that really took his career from being just a regular actor to an A-lister, Independence Day. Independence Day is a sci-fi movie about an alien invasion attacking the Earth on Independence Day or around that time. And it was a big blockbuster movie, man. It was one of the biggest movies of the 90s. Will Smith starred in it. There was a few other actors in it. But, he was the main one. He stole the show with his acting and his performance. So from there, Will Smith just skyrocketed. He got all kind of acting roles and all kind of movies. It led all over the place. So number 5 is Independence Day. Number 4 is one of my favorite Chris Rock movies, CB4. Yes, y'all, CB4, MC Gusto coming straight out of Cashville. I think I don't even remember what the song was right now. But CB4 is one of the most funniest black movies of all time. It's one of the most funniest comedies of all time. Chris Rock really did a great job putting that movie together. It was hilarious, man. I love that movie. I have fond memories of that movie as a child, and just growing up with all the different scenes. Charlie Murphy starred in that movie as well, and he has some funny roles in that movie. We get the famous "I'm blackity black and I'm black y'all and I'm black y'all and I'm blackity black and I'm black y'all." I mean, that movie has some parodies. It really it it was a great comedy. So CB4, y'all go check that out if you've never seen it. It's for you young folks. CB4 is number 4 on my list. And then we have number 3, which is Bad Boys. Now, Bad Boys was another big blockbuster movie for Will Smith because it really just was Will Smith and Martin Lawrence as the main characters. You know, they had the white girl in there, the savior, the white girl saviors. You know, that's a prominent thing for films. But you know, that movie was another blockbuster, big time epic film. Another reason why Will Smith is the star that he is, and everybody loves Will Smith. You know, we all remember Mike Lowry, man. It's Mike Lowry. He definitely gave us a great performance on that one. Bad Boys, I can watch it, you know, all the time. I can watch it when they put it without the cuss words, when they put it with the cuss words. You know, if it pops up on my streaming or television channel, I would definitely stop and watch it. Another great movie. So my number 3 movie is Bad Boys. And then we have going down to the last 2 movies. Now, this other movie, I think, is a brilliant movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, not just of my favorite Will Smith movies, but it's one of my favorite movies ever, and that's Hitch. All right, we talked about romantic comedies before with Chris Rock's movie, but this one is, to me, was probably one of the best romantic comedies that I can think of. I love watching Hitch, man. Hitch is a great movie. It's hilarious. It's witty. It's funny. Well written. Well performed. You know, Eva Mendes is bad. She's a beauty. You know, she's a beauty. You know, Will Smith does his thing. Definitely go see that movie. If you haven't seen Hitch, I love Hitch, man. You know, it's one of the favorite movies the wife and I watch. So I tell you to watch Hitch. Hitch is definitely the one of the top movies for me, man. I love Hitch. So that's my second favorite top 10 Will Smith and Chris Rock movie. And we have our my number one favorite Chris Rock and Will Smith movie, and that will be yes, y'all, New Jack City. Okay, I mean, y'all would have to have known that, right? New Jack City. If you don't know what New Jack City is, you need to go check it out. It came out in the late 80s or maybe early 90s. I think it's 91, 90, and Chris Rock stars as a crackhead. But still, though, we all love Pookie, man. We all love Pookie. We all know a Pookie. So yeah, New Jack City is a movie about obviously a undercover police officer who's trying to take down drugs in the city of New York, and he goes up against Nino Brown, which is the baddest, you know, drug dealer ever in a movie. And Nino Brown's played by Wesley Snipes, and obviously, you know, Chris Rock plays in that movie. Mario Van Peebles is the director and the producer of the movie. It's a great movie. It was one of the top epic black movies of the 90s. It was one of those movies in the 90s that showed, you know, a movie with a majority black cast could actually sell tickets and have people and draw people to the theaters. So New Jack City is my number 1. So we'll go down the list here real quick. We got Pootie Tang at number 10. We got I Think I Love My Wife at number 9. We have Men in Black at 8. We have Madagascar at number 7. We have Ali at 6. Independence Day at number 5. CB4 at number 4. We have Bad Boys at number 3. We have Hitch at number 2. And my number 1 favorite Chris Rock and Will Smith movie is New Jack City. So those are my movies, man. And I hopefully y'all, you know, can understand that these are just regular human beings. They live their life just like you and I do. They're susceptible to making mistakes on both ends, whether you agree with what Will Smith did or not, or if you agree with what Chris Rock was able to do or not. These guys are brilliant. They work their whole life to be at this point in time in their life, and they're gonna make some money. Chris Rock's gonna make some money. Will Smith's already making money, and we all already know if Will Smith making money, Jada's making money. So we all just, you know, can move on with our lives, and hopefully we don't ever have to discuss Jada and Will Smith again after today. So we'll move on to the next topic here, folks. I don't want to hold people too long, but I see there's still some folks holding on. See how y'all doing. It's been a while. What's good? What's good? All right, folks. So, you know, talking about the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation, you know, I really felt like the book The Secret have a little something to do with what's going on, with what we got going on today, because the Secret was a craze, a documentary and a book and a craze in the 90s. And it was back in the, I mean, not 90s, in the 2000s. Back in the late 90s and 2000s, there was this thing about motivational speakers. You would see advertisement on your TV. There was this craze about having people telling you about how you should live your life and how you should be, like there were just motivational speakers all over, and you would get tapes. So, people would go spend tickets and money to go see these people speak. And these people were just motivational speakers. They just knew how to speak very well. And they would have all these great analogies and metaphors to help you do stuff. And The Secret came out, and The Secret was one of those type of, of things that revolved around, motivation. The Secret was a documentary that turned into a book, and it basically talked about the laws of attraction. All right. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because obviously with the Will Smith and Jada Pinkett thing, we've been seeing a lot more videos of like Jada and Will Smith and interviews, and people are starting to bring to light to things that were obviously already there, but now they're attracting it more to themselves, so they're able to show it or see it more. So when we talk about The Secret, the idea of The Secret, what is The Secret, is that there is such thing called the law of attraction. And the law of attraction says, by the book or the documentary, that the ideas and the words that we express, the emotions that we carry, affects what is attracted to us by the universe. And because the universe is not is non-biased, it doesn't care what type of attraction you're asking the universe for. It's just going to provide it to you. So as an example, they were stating, like, if you don't want to be late for work, and if you keep saying I don't want to be late for work, and you're actually physically in the emotion of feeling like you don't want to be late for work, and you're thinking about it, eventually what the universe is going to hear from you and give to you is exactly that. It's going to give you everything that will make you late for work. So now you'll catch every red light, you'll catch every traffic jam, you'll catch every railroad. And these things are actually attracted to you because you physically thought about it, spoke about it, and emotionally invested yourself into it to allow the universe to attract that to you. So that was the whole point of the law of attraction and the whole point of the actual Secret. And now this thing got, a little bit, praise and controversy at the same time, because people would say, well, you can't just necessarily attract things to you. I can't just say, oh, I want to be a millionaire, and all of a sudden I'm going to be a millionaire the next day. It doesn't work that way. But what the idea of The Secret was trying to let you understand the difference between your perception and reality. And that's where the controversy starts with that book. But I like to bring it into tail with what we're talking about when we're talking about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, because a lot of people seem to have brought up the old footages of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett and how she's, how she treats him and all the bad things that they go through. And the funny thing for me is not that people are now being attracted to this. Like The Secret said, it's actually your attention is being more brought to this. So in the idea of The Secret, the universe is indiscriminate. It's going to give you whatever you ask for. In reality, the universe already has everything that exists. So it has all the good, it has all the bad. It's just the way you perceive that reality. Okay, so have you ever heard of a word for the first time, and then now all of a sudden you hear that word all over the place, or you see the word all over the place? Well, that is not you attracting that. That's you bring your perception changing, because now you have brought that attention to your brain, and now that attention allows you to see it. Those words always existed in the magazines or existed wherever you now are seeing them, but you were never previously, privy to those actual words. So you never really thought about it. It was never brought to your attention. So it wasn't necessarily something that was attracting to you. It was something that you would perceptionally bring in attention to yourself. So now we have folks bringing up Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith videos that have existed for a long time, that we've seen countless times, that we saw countless times, but now we're breaking it down under a different perspective because of what had happened in the light of Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. So now all of this different perception of the reality that exists has changed because we have brought that to our attention. And that brings up to why I say, the forces that we control in our lives and the things that we have in our lives, and how powerful the law of attraction really is, if we want to break it down as the law of attraction, which is bringing the attention of the universe that exists around you more to your being. Because again, what we see or what we think we know is basically is only what our brain and our mind has the capacity to perceive. Our reality is broken down by that perception, but the reality that exists could still be broadened than our perception. So this is the idea of opening yourself. When people say open up your mind, right? To stay open or open up your third eye, is to broaden your perception of the universe, because the universe is so vast. It is so much in the universe that you can take from, that you would have to open up yourself to really be able to express that. And a lot of people talk about that when people say, don't come around me with bad energy, right? It's a way of controlling your environment. You want to be around people. You want to, if you always keep a good vibe around you, you won't never notice the people with the bad moves or the sad faces. You'll always notice the people with the smile, the people with the good looks, because you are in that spirit. So that's the idea of The Secret. Now, you can watch it again. If you guys get a chance, watch the documentary. I watched it recently. And this is what we're seeing now. And this is why I thought it was a great conversation to bring it up, is because you really do control the things, the things around you. But the key thing about the whole idea is that other people have powers as well. I talked about being a social species, and the same way you can use your perception to broaden your universe and your reality of your universe, somebody else can do the same way too. So in the idea of The Secret, where they say you can just manifest things through your perception or through your energy and your emotions and your thoughts and your words, but there's other people who also have that same thing, who may have a contradicting thought or an opposing thought to what you have and an energy for. So it's not necessarily something that you can control all the time. So what you can control is obviously your perception of your reality and the universe that you live in. So it's always good to keep a good vibe. As an example, my wife gets upset with me when I always say, man, I'm broke. And I explained to her, me saying that I'm not broke won't change that I only have $100 in my bank account. It would just only change how I view having $100 in my bank account. Instead of me thinking of $100 being broke, I should think of it as being, well, I got $100. I can do a lot with $100. And that obviously will change my perception of the reality, but it won't change that it won't give me more money. But what I could do is think about ways to get more money, right? If I say to myself, I want to make more money, I want to be able to find more money. Now what I'm doing and what I'm bringing to myself in the universe will feed me that is the perception of seeing how can I make money. So I might introduce myself to somebody that I didn't even know before. And now we're talking about money, because now that's what my mode is about. So we do have power to control, our universe around us. And that's what makes it so brilliant. This is all supernatural stuff to a certain degree. And that's why a lot of this was the theological people. But, it's a great discussion, because you do have control over what you bring attention to yourself. That's why I like to read books, because I learn different words when I read books. That's why I like to conversate with different people, because people bring things to me that I may have never brought to my own attention. So now it allows me to broaden my perspective and see a different aspect of the universe that I live in. So it's a great way to understand your powers and what you have. So again, you can think things, you can speak things, and you can feel a certain way, but all that will do is actually bring attention to it. It's not necessarily attracting these things to you. So if you want to become richer, or if you want to become a better individual, if you want to become better at your job, if you want to become whatever it is that you're trying to do, when you invest in yourself mentally, emotionally, and verbally with your actions, you definitely can see a change in everything that you do. So I believe, this fits in with the world plan and what the world leaders do, right? They physically feel themselves and where they want to put themselves in this world. That's what rich people say all the time. That's what Rich Dad, Poor Dad books about. People say you have to think yourself. KRS-One has a great rhyme that he always talks about. You have to visualize wealth and then put yourself in the picture. And once you do that, you'll start seeing ways of becoming rich or becoming wealthy all over the place. So folks, like I always tell y'all, stay positive, stay black, stay beautiful, and do the right things and open up your mind to so many beautiful things in the universe, because the universe has so much to offer us. So I thank you again for joining me. This is Speaking with Ajani, Bakari Talk Show. I go live every Monday night. I see there's a few folks here. Peace, what's good, Cuff? I see you. What's good? I'm locked. What's good, brother? Peace, blessings to you too. You know what I'm saying? Black, what's good, Black? So again, The show's about to get up on my YouTube. Again, go to YouTube. That's Ajani Bakari on YouTube. But you can also follow me on Facebook and IG. I'll see you guys next week. Next week, I'm going to have a special topic, and I'm also bringing on a special guest, as April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I don't know if too many folks know about that, but sexual assault is definitely an issue that we have in our community as Black folks. And I believe it's a subject that's been taboo to talk about. And y'all know me better than anything. If it's taboo to talk about, I'm definitely going to bring it up on my show. But I'm going to bring up a sex assault advocate, a victim's advocate. And we're going to have a great discussion about sexual assault. And we're going to talk about Sexual Assault Awareness Month, which is in April every year. So catch me next Monday live on my YouTube, 7:15 p.m. I'll go live on my IG and Facebook, 7:25. Y'all have a blessed and a beautiful night. See y'all next week.